Welcome back to class 3 of our 4-part yoga series. Our overarching theme is more purpose, less perfection. And today we're going to be talking about emotional agility and maybe do a little bit of yoga pose agility too. So again, I'm Cammie, this is Dawn, and this is Emily. We'll be taking you through your practice today. And remember to get your equipment. So you need a yoga mat and a blanket and a bolster, or some pillows are great too. Then you also need some blocks, yes, which you can use books as well, or anything that's square and movable. Works good too. So let's go ahead and start by taking a seat. So again, find a comfortable seated position, one that suits your body well. And we'll rock hips a little bit side to side, find your comfortable seat. So emotional agility is the ability to navigate the ups and downs of life with some self-acceptance, some growth mindset, and a little bit of clarity as well, so that you can move forward based on what your own values are. And finding meaning in your own successes and your own failures, so that it's a process, it's growth. Moments of discomfort, periods of discomfort in our life, that's when we improve and we find our growth. So today we're gonna get comfortable with being a little uncomfortable as we move forward through our yoga progression. So go ahead and sit nice and tall and close your eyes, or you can keep them open, it's up to you. And we'll start to notice our breath. So reconnect with that 3-part breath that we have practiced in class 1 and class 2. As you inhale, expand through the belly, through the ribs, then the chest. And as you exhale, let the chest fall, the ribs fall, and the belly fall. The ability to have emotional agility in terms of emotions relates specifically to being able to say, I am feeling this way versus I am this way. I am feeling stressed, not I am stressed. I am feeling frustrated, not I am frustrated. Take a step back and notice what your emotions have been like today. What has been the emotion that has been pushing at you and pulling at you? And maybe it's an emotion that you've been dealing with for a period of time. Can you step back and look at that emotion as data, not a directive? What is that data telling you? And what can you do to accept it, to learn from it, and to move on? Now, as you continue moving with your breath, notice how your breath affects you emotionally, how it affects you physically. Our deep belly breath is our rest and digest breath. It tells our body everything's fine. So when you're in those moments of high emotions, access your deep belly breath so that your body knows everything's fine, that you can learn and grow. Let's bring our hands together at our hearts. Notice your fingertips pressing together. Notice your palms pressing together. Allow your sit bones to root through the floor as your spine maybe grows a little taller, finding a little bit better posture. Then release your hands and open your eyes. All right, let's switch up our feet. Whatever's comfortable again. So if you are best in the position you started in, go ahead and stay there. But we're going to do a few yes, no's, and maybes with our head. So we're going to start with some yeses. So with a tall spine, find your shoulder blades on your back, and then let your chin drop towards your chest. Up and down. Just notice if there's any tightness or tension. And then bringing the head back to the center, let's move through our nose. So head goes side to side. And you get to move at your own speed. And bring the head back to the center. We'll move to our maybes. So ear to shoulder. And side to side. And let's bring the head back to the center. All right, we're going to switch up our knees a little bit. So bring your feet up on your mat, and then we're going to drop knees to the right. So on a blanket, bolster, either is great, or seated on the ground. So most of our weight's going to be shifted into our right foot now. Let's take an inhale, lengthen through the spine, and then as you exhale, gently release your hands and reach to the right a little ways. You get to decide how far you're going to go. So hand can go to knee, further behind you, but you're going to pick how far you're going to go. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, maybe press the hands a little deeper into the floor, pushing into the ground and twist. One more breath here. And then let's release to the center and switch sides. Set up the knees, the hips. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, gently twist to the left. You get to decide how far you're going to go. With every exhale, maybe go a little further, or just engage your fingertips into the ground a little bit more. And we're starting out with our comfortable poses. We might move into uncomfortable. And gently release back to the front. All right, we're going to move forward onto all fours. So go ahead and switch your position. We are familiar with this position, so stack wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Find that good solid foundation and start to move through some cat-cows. So as you inhale, drop your belly, lift your head and your tailbone. Exhale, round up through the back. Good, nice deep breaths. And then coming back to a neutral spine, we're going to move through some of our hip opening. We've done one of these before, but we're going to add on in a downward dog. So let's start by stepping left foot back with toes tucked under. We're going to do our forward and back rocks. We did these in class 1. So working through the toes, waking up your toes, feet, and ankles, because as we move into our agility portions today, you're going to want your feet awake and ready to go. All right, let's take a bend to the left knee. So we're going to continue on the left leg and start our hip circles. Nice big circles. And then go the other way. Okay, let's switch side. Right foot back, toes tucked, and rock forward and back. So we're finding balance in the body all the time in yoga, and emotionally as well. All right, let's move through those hip circles. Good, big knee. Only move as far as your body is ready for, and go the other way. All right, back to all fours. We're going to move through a little bit of a upper body twist, a thoracic rotation. So let's move our hands just a teeny bit closer together for a little bit of stability. And then as you inhale, press your left hand in the ground as your right hand reaches out. Watch your right hand only reaching as far up as you feel safe with. And then exhale, reach underneath your arm and head drops to the mat. Okay, now this is a spot where, like, if you look at Dawn, she's propped her head up here. So if your head and your shoulder don't get to the floor easily, prop yourself up. You can use a blanket, pillows. Now, if you'd like to go a little further, you can reach your left arm behind your back with the palm open, facing out. And then maybe look up a little bit as well towards the sky. That'll get a little bit deeper. Good. Let's go ahead and unwind and switch sides. All right, right hand plants. Take an inhale, left arm reaches out. Watch your left hand. And then exhale, sweep the arm underneath and drop the head and the shoulder to the mat. Good. And then if you'd like, you can sweep your arm behind your back and maybe even look up at the sky a little bit. So find the edge of comfortable and getting a bit of a stretch. Maybe not discomfort yet, but we're starting to push the boundaries a little bit. Go ahead and unwind. All right, let's move into a downward facing dog. So go ahead and tuck toes, lift hips, and let's pedal through the feet. So we're going to continue waking up the feet, the ankles, the toes. Remember, we've got to reconnect with all 10 toes here. So we are going to use all 10 toes today. Continue pedaling through the feet. All right, let's take a nice deep bend of both knees and then lift the sit bones up really high. Good. Heart towards the knees and then soften the heels towards the ground. Legs do not have to be straight here. Probably don't want them straight. And heels are probably not going to touch the ground. They don't need to touch the ground. On your inhale, come forward into a plank position. You can always adjust your hand position if you're not extended out quite enough. And then you could modify as well by going down to your knees like Don's doing here. All right, tuck toes back to downward facing dog. We're going to move through some of those hip opening exercises we did on hands and knees. So you do have the option of going down to hands and knees at any time if your arms are saying they need a little bit of a break. So check in with your foundation in your hands, that you're using all 10 fingers. Okay, so we're going to start by taking a bend to the right knee, but keep your knees close together. So right heel pulls up with a bend in the knee. And then start to push through your heel, extending your leg back towards the sky and lift up. Good. And then we're going to do some hip rotations. So start to open the hip and then bring the hip back to parallel. Good. Really push through the heel. So now we're moving into a little more uncomfortable. And if your body says, not ready yet, that's fine. All right, go ahead and drop the foot and let's switch sides. Take a bend to the knee first and then push way back and up towards the sky through your heel, like you're holding up the wall. And then start to rotate the hip, open and closed. Good. Continue moving with breath, keeping the heel nice and lifted. And then drop the foot to the mat. And find your way into a child's pose. So we'll take a moment to reconnect. So what data did you get from those poses so far? Are there any adjustments you need to make? And every day is different, and your abilities will change on a daily basis. So if you're feeling a little sluggish today, take it down a notch. If you're feeling more energized, push a little further. Just knowing that our growth happens when we accept what's in front of us and we move forward with curious observation. So one more deep full breath in your child's pose. And then please make your way back to downward facing dog. Now we are going to move forward into a lunge position, but before we do that, you have the option of dropping your knee to the mat and coming forward or stepping forward from your downward facing dog. So we're going to take an inhale, lift the left heel up behind you, three-legged dog, and then exhale, step the foot forward between the hands. And you're probably going to want your blocks here. So go ahead and drop the back knee to the mat. And use the blocks. So remember we talked about setting up on the front leg. We're going to take your left block and move it inside your foot. So both hands are on the inside. And then you find the height that you need. Any height that you need. Okay. Now from here, push your left hip crease back and then work your forearms down to the floor or your blocks. I would suggest blocks to start with. We're going to find the breath and work through the left hip. Maybe you can add a little bit of forward and back motion here while you're here. So just gently rocking forward and back. Working through your hip joint. Now everybody's hip joints are really different. So you have got to honor where your hip joint will let you go. All right, let's come back out of this. We'll move the blocks. Left hand back to the left side. And then find a downward facing dog. However you would like to get there. Yep, through knees, tuck the toes. Good. All right, we're going to do the other side. Inhale the right heel to the sky. And then exhale, step forward between the hands. Find your blocks. The height you need. Set up the angle of your front knee and then move your right hand on the inside. Good. Push the right hip crease back and then begin to pull your forearms down to your blocks. Whatever height you need. Check in with the breath. Maybe you can add some forward and back rocking motions in your hip. If your hip doesn't like that, then don't do that. Good. Let's bring hands back up. Right hand comes back to the right side. And then find your hands on the floor and find a downward facing dog. All right, now we're going to move into one of my favorite variations of a lunge. So let's inhale, left heel up behind and step forward through your hands. You can either walk or step until you are in a lunge position. So you can choose high or low lunge. If you feel ready for it today, bring your back knee up into a high lunge. Good. So using the blocks to support you, we're going to add a little bit of pumping in the back leg. So go ahead and push up and down. So the knee is going to stay the same angle in the knee. We're just moving all through toes and the ankle. Now what I want you to do, we're going to push off a little bit. So we're going to go into our little courage part of today. Okay? And as you push off, lean forward until your back foot hovers a little bit and then step it back to the ground. Good. Yep, little push off. Let's pause back in our lunge. And let's switch sides. Go ahead and plant hands on your blocks. Yep, there we go. You guys are ahead of me. You know what you're doing. Okay, a little bit of pumping on your back foot. I could just give you one word and you would know what to do next. Okay, find your agility in your back foot and start to push off. Little bit of balance here. Good. Go ahead and step forward into a forward fold. Inhale, come partway up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Arms reach to the sky. And exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold. We're going to pause here in our forward fold for a few breaths. So if you like, you can grasp opposite elbows with opposite hands and let yourself hang. Now maybe do a few yeses and nos with your head. Soften the knees. Make sure knees are always soft in a forward fold to release the lower back. All right, let's release the arms, plant your hands on your blocks, and step the left foot back into your lunge. Moving forward with courage and agility. We're going to keep going on it. So this time, I want you to start by taking an inhale and reach the arms up. So we're going to move right into a high lunge. So really push down through your right foot as you inhale to the sky. Now we're going to practice pushing off from this position. Now, if your body says, no, thank you, not ready for that yet, then you put your hands back on your blocks. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. Push off, and then reach your foot back and land. From your blocks, or from arms in the air. Just little lifts. Good. It's all data. Okay, let's go ahead and switch legs. Reach hands to your blocks, step forward, and right foot goes back. On your inhale, push through the left foot and inhale the arms to the sky. Good. From your nice solid foundation, so your front leg is your stability and your support, because we're going from 2 feet to 1 foot. You pick if you're going to use hands on the block or arms in the air, and start to push off. Reaching forward and then stepping back. Good. Go ahead and step forward into your forward fold. On your inhale, come partway up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart and pause. We're going to pause in our mountain pose for a moment. Go ahead and close your eyes. You don't have to, but if you'd like, go ahead. And just check in with how your feet feel against the ground. And then shift your weight to 1 foot. And every time you shift your weight, you're getting data from your body, and you have to adjust. And let's shift to the other side. Then come back to the center, release your hands, and open your eyes. So as we move through our next sequence, move slowly enough that you can collect the data that your body is giving you, and that you can move forward with whatever is the best step ahead for you. So let's take an inhale and reach the arms up. And exhale, fold. We are going to move now from our lunge into a warrior 3. So rather than pausing and stepping back, you're going to stay reaching forward with your leg lifted. So go ahead and take your left foot back. And we can move in baby steps. So like we talked about in the previous class, you can do little steps back. Now you get to choose if you're going to keep hands on blocks or arms to the sky. So let's take an inhale and have one of you at least reach your arms to the sky. Dawn's going to do it this time for us. Good. Now find that spot in your back foot where you feel like you could take off running right now, where you are primed and ready to go. Okay? When you are ready, push through the front leg with your stability, keeping it engaged, and then pop forward off the back leg and hinge. Good. Our energy is moving down through the ground, up through your leg, and then out through your fingertips and your back foot. So find that energy, keeping the back foot energized and pointed at the ground. So the hips are parallel and the hips are not opening up. Now, when you are ready, find your way back to your lunge in either one big step or some little steps. Good. And then release the hands all the way to the ground and step forward. Inhale, come partway up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, fold. All right, let's do the other side. Which leg was it, ladies? Right. Okay, thank you. Okay, so find your energy in your back foot, in your toes. If If you want, you can pump it like we did before until you find that spot that feels like you can take off at any moment. And then find your arm position. So maybe Emily, you get to reach your arms to the sky this time. And then when you're ready, engage through your front leg into the ground. Use your agility and your strength and push off your back foot as you fly forward. Good. Keep the back leg lifting. Push through the back heel. Reach through the front toes. Unless your hands are on the ground, then you're going to use your hands for support. But maybe try and use your core a little bit more so that there's a little less weight in your hands. Good. When you're ready, find your way back to your lunge. Good. Step forward, forward, fold. Inhale, come part way up. And exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the arms, come all the way up. We're going to exhale arms into our gratitude hands. Good. I call them platter hands, but I like Dawn's gratitude hands too. So I'm going to use that today. All right, we're going to find a little baby back bend here. So check in with your feet, narrow, hip width apart. Engage shoulders on your back. Soften the knees. Push through the ground and let your heart lift. And as your heart lifts, notice the little bend in your upper back you get, the little bit of a back bend. And if you like, you can start looking up a little towards the sky. But not too much. We're trying to keep a normal space between the chin and the chest. Good. Release the hands. Back to the heart. Take an inhale, reach up, and exhale, fold. All the way to the ground. All right, let's find our way back to a downward facing dog. However you'd like to get there. And then take the knees to the mat and take a child's pose. This is your celebratory child's pose. Because you just did a warrior 3 with a lunge. So take a moment to deepen the breath and acknowledge what you have accomplished today. And notice what you've learned today about what you're capable of, about how your body's feeling, about how you have to adjust depending on how the day, how the week has been for you. All right, let's extend arms out in front. Go ahead and look forward. And inhale forward into a kneeling plank position. So shoulders end up over your wrists. A little tuck in the tailbone. And then lower yourself at your own speed all the way to the floor. On your inhale, lift your hands, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. This time we're going to keep hands planted on your mat, and you get to choose how high up you're going to go based on what feels safe to your back. So go ahead and roll shoulders down and back away from your ears. Press through your hands. Press into the tops of your feet. And inhale your heart up. Only as high as is safe for your back. And then lower down. All right, go ahead and make your way back to all fours. Up onto hands and knees. We're going to move into the final phase of our class today, and one of my most favorite poses of Restorative Bridge. So go ahead and take a seat and make your way to your backs. You're going to want bolster or one block or your pillow if you're using a pillow. So go ahead and find your way all the way to your backs. With your knees bent, narrow hip width apart, and heels pulled in kind of towards your glutes here. All right, so pressing the feet into the mat, you're going to lift your hips and then slide your bolster or your block right under your hips so that your whole sacrum, your pelvis is totally supported. And then you can do whatever you want with your arms right here. I like arms out with palms up, or you can go into cactus arms if you want a little more stretch in your chest and shoulders. Or you can go arms overhead like Dawn is doing too. So let's work through a little bit of abdominal lengthening while you're here. So as you inhale, expand through the belly, let your belly rise. And as you exhale, let your belly sink way down into your lower back. See if you can create length in your lower abdominals just by using your breath. This is your time to restore, to recognize what you've accomplished today, and think about how to proceed next time. I'm going to do 2 more full breaths. We're going to move into our Shavasana. So you get to pick if you're going to stay right here, if you're going to adjust your position. You can find any other position that feels good to you. So I'll give you a moment to get that all set up. Oh yeah, Dawn's doing a really good one over here. We haven't done this yet. This is really great for your spine. All right, let's go ahead and settle in. You can let your eyes be soft. They can be open or closed, but allow a softness to fill your face and your body. Now, today we've talked about emotional agility and the ability to be with your emotions and work through hard things, and how discomfort is the price of admission to a meaningful life. Now, if it feels safe for you, bring to mind something that is troubling you right now. A trial that you're going through, maybe it's physical, emotional, something at work, something in your family, something that you struggle with right now. And just think of that. Notice if you have any physical sensation associated with that hard thing that's in your life. And then as you breathe, as you inhale, gather up bits and pieces of that trial. And as you exhale, release it. You can't get rid of it all at once. It's a process, it's steps. But with every breath, gather a new piece, a new part, and let it go with your exhale. We're going to focus on removing that trial, that difficult emotion, just for a short time. You can pick it right back up once you leave, but for now, take it piece by piece and release it. Let it go. Maybe you can imagine filling a balloon with each one of those exhales. And once that difficulty has filled the balloon, you can let the balloon fly away. And you can watch it go and watch it become smaller and smaller until it's almost imperceptible. Now begin to bring your awareness back to your breath. Begin to notice the weight of your body. Add some gentle movement to fingers and to toes. Then bend the knees. Make your way over onto one side. Then gently press into the ground and find your way back up to seated. Let's bring our hands together at our hearts and let your eyes be soft. And thank you for joining me today. Namaste.